Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
Blast me hearties, and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. I be your captain, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is me skinny rich friend and first mate.
It's Mozz.
Hey, welcome back, Mozz. Mozz. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are those who walk the streets of Jersey City, defending those who cannot defend themselves. She is Ms. Marvel. Season 1, Episode 3. Ahead of Amir's wedding, Kamala may face grave consequences due to a crucial decision she must make. Our director this week is Mira Menon. Writers, we have Freddie Cyborn and A.C. Bradley, as well as Matthew Chauncey, who do all of our teleplays on this one. The story by, of course, is Freddie Cyborn, G. Willow Wilson, and Adrian Alfona. Gets the Ms. Marvel / Kamala Khan created by credits. And, of course, our supervising producer, making sure everybody does what they have to do, is Sabir Pirzada. All right. So this is fun. We start back in 1942, what do they call that? Pre-partition. We see the one lady who picked up Kamala in the car last night, as well as a few other people scavenging through a decimated temple. A temple, people have pointed out, dedicated to the 10 rings from Shang-Chi. Did you hear that? Or yeah. And they find one bangle. They were told there could be a bangle here and that they would need two, but they found one that is suspiciously on a severed hand that happens to be blue.
Don't many of the Hindi deities have blue skin?
Yes, and that would see if it was on like that would be my first thought, that if you had a broken statue, it could have just been like I think both Vishnu and Kali are sometimes depicted as blue. That's a way to show that they are, gods. But they don't say it's on an arm of a statue. They say it's clearly on a severed limb. So that was probably pretty clear that they could see the bone and the skin and all that stuff. And should we be worried about that? And they are trying to get home as they present to themselves. And it's interesting because, Kamran's mom in this, we see that is not Kamala's grandmother. Kamala's grandmother, Aisha, is a different person. And Aisha is the one who gets the bangle because she is the leader of the group. I do wonder if we're ever going to find that other bangle. I mean, they had mentioned that the British had been through here, so one imagines it has found its way to some museum somewhere that they will have to locate eventually. But in this moment, it is interesting that they have to separate, that Aisha clearly wants to use it, and the other woman,
I can't think of her name either.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Kamran's mom, we'll just call her.
Yeah, Kamran's mom. I see Nakia. Just going down the list here. Najma, I believe that is. Najma Nimra Buka, possibly. Or Sana, I'm not quite sure.
No, Sana's her grandmother.
Sana's her grandmother. So I think Nimra Buka is Najma. Let me see, I'm trying to pull up the face
Sana's
here.
mom is Aisha.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So it's Nimra Buka is playing
Najma?
Najma, yes. And that is our evil auntie, as I have called her.
She's like
she doesn't see
Willem Dafoe.
Yes. Well, you gotta get into that. And to that extent, we're going to discuss sort of what I feel are some parallels that we see in this episode with, Far From Home.
Interesting.
And this need to get this teenager to do something for you, to convince you of something. And we see that is clearly what they're doing. They're being very friendly, very nice, and, trying to talk to her. And you also see her self-doubt in all of this, much in the way that Peter often had self-doubt, about maybe I'm not cut out to be a superhero. It seems sometimes I hurt more people than I save, yada, 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 which is one of those points where you go, yeah, that's probably true. Maybe you should join an organized organization to train you to be a better superhero so that you can do better superheroics while keeping in mind all the dangers that are involved, I'm sure the JCPD could really use the help. Catching purse snatchers and whatnot. But it ends on a fairly positive spot, although we get the revelation that the people, Najma and the like, they're called they're called the clandestine, but they go by many names, one of which is what they're most commonly known as the Jinn. Dun dun dun. And that is that's a shocker because, as we know, Kamala is afraid of the Jinn.
Every brown kid that grew up in a household is afraid of Jinn.
Yes.
There's like really, really brilliant horror stories told to us about Jinn. We were terrified of Jinn when we were kids.
Good to know. Well, then, and wouldn't it be fun to find out, oh, actually, you're a Jinn.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and that is what she talks about with Bruno, is this idea, like, he says, first off, Bruno's mad. You can't just text you're okay and then disappear for 8 hours, which, I guess is true, but also it's like, am I sure that's her texting me, or is there just, does someone just have her phone? But I did like his line, when she says she's a Jinn, he goes, and tonic? What does that mean? And then she explains, how there's ghost stories and Jinn stories are so much worse because they're real, which is, it sounds weird to me. I'll be honest with you when you say, no, Jinn are real. Ghosts are made up and scary, but Jinn are real and scary.
Right.
But here we do see that, in fact, Jinn are real.
The distinction is ghosts are supposed to be the remnant souls of people. Jinn are supposed to be elementally created as a different subsection of creation, It's like kind of like angels, they were like another different class of divine beings, or not divine, but like made of that old stuff. I
see. Now that makes sense. But that's a little overwhelming for her. But I both like but don't like when she says, Bruno, you're good at math. What do you know about wormholes or says cross-dimensional gateways? And I also love in that he's like, actually, that does remind me of something.
Right. There's nothing I don't know or that I can't find out more about in 5 minutes. I'm that smart.
Yeah, well, he is a super genius kid. This is and to be fair, this is a world where it's a book written by Eric Selvig he's discussing. It's a world where Jane Foster has written a book on Einstein Rosen bridges, and this is all pretty well documented. So it's like, yeah, no, I totally read something about that the other day. How do you break through to other dimensions? I mean, let's be honest here. What's his name? Ant-Man has a podcast. So
I was just thinking that's bound to come up on random podcasts. It's that much of the zeitgeist, all this kind of stuff. So I get it.
We call it the quantum realm, but you're not really going into.
Right.
It's not that you're shrinking onto a subatomic atom, but you're somehow shrinking and coming into another realm and doing this, where the laws of physics are very different. So I do like that. Although that does lead to our eventual problem with the theory, which is specifically that, you can create something like, but no one has, on Earth at least, that we know of, and you need effectively the power of a sun to do that. And because you need the power of the sun, the margin for error on this is really bad. Because, much like, Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man holding the power of his sun in your hand, if you are off by a little bit and you can't control the reaction, rather than opening a gateway to another universe, you're going to destroy everyone.
The planet, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is the danger of it. We do have the nice pre-wedding setup. That was nice, where they're getting the little Mindy artwork and all this. And yeah, it did seem like it wasn't just a bridal party. It seemed like it was the whole family there, which is nice, Usually you have your bachelorette and your bachelor parties, but they seem to all be getting together for this joyous event.
So like Pakistani weddings, they're usually like 3 or 4 days long. There's 3 or 4 different ceremonies that mean different things, and it's a different excuse to have another party. So it's usually like the whole family descends upon, this little area, and then it's just like it's like a whole family reunion usually. Pakistani weddings are huge.
Yeah. Although it was a little sad that, the grandmother didn't come to the wedding. And they made the point that she didn't come to Kamala's mom's wedding either. So there is a lot of bad blood there. Yeah. You do get the reference again about how, how embarrassing it must be for whoever this poor mother of Nightlight must be. Such an embarrassment to have your child running around. And, I guess I can see that, but I gotta think there would have to be Pakistanis who would be like, yeah, that is very cool. She's a freaking superhero,
Yeah. You get hints at that in the next episode, but yeah.
Yes, and they do the mothers and daughters thing. And Kamala, promise you'll never cause these problems for your mother,
We all do a little bit better every time. That's all. That's all we can hope for.
Yes. She tells them that she really can't she tells the clandestine that she really can't do this yet. She can't use the power to open the gateway yet. And that causes them to crash the wedding, which leads to, I think, a really good fight scene.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, to Living on a Prayer. I thought that was really good. I am mad we did not get more Brown Jovi.
Yeah.
I felt that they were robbed. I was waiting to hear them do some, just, I wanted something that was Bon Jovi and Pakistani cover, or something like that.
Something a little different, something a little fusion, It really gave off a lot of like wedding singer vibes. I was waiting for a cool, but then we did get a really cool fight scene, so it was all right.
Yes. And that was to, not Uptown Girl, Living on a Prayer. Uptown Girl, that's Billy Joel, not Bon Jovi. Living on a Prayer, great song though. And we see that the clandestine
comes there to try to warn her first.
Yes. So, Kamran comes, because he does want to warn her, wants to make sure that she knows what's about to go down, because this is dangerous. What's about to happen, and they have to clear out the place because and this is where I get that that No Way Home vibe, you know, when Mysterio is trying to get the Edith glasses from Peter, you know, just you do the smile, and you know, we're the family and all this kind of, and trying to let her know that she belongs and that we're a family and we're going to do all this and that and the other. But and I gotta say, as soon as Kamala says no, the Najma just really escalates it, you know,
really quickly. For as old of a being as she is, and as conniving as she seemed to be earlier in the episode, all playing nice, you know, playing the long game. And come on, you're not going to die. You're almost immortal, I would imagine. So, like, play the long game. You know exactly where it is. You've been searching for decades. You finally know exactly where it is. It's within eyesight. Play the long game. But no, she can't handle it. What do you think the reason is for her jumping the gun like that so hard?
Well, my honest opinion, I mean, the honest reason is because we only have 6 episodes. So, you know, we got to get through everybody. But I think you can make a strong argument, especially because of the arrival of Damage Control. Who we do see, you know, really
able to overpower them.
Yeah, Damage Control did not come to play. You know, they know what they're doing, and it makes you think that this is kind of a real fear for them. That they know that once their cover is blown, it's only a matter of time until the humans come after them. And so, you know, they know that Kamala is out there being Nightlight, making drawing all the attention to Jersey City. They know it's only a matter of time before someone either figures out Kamala, takes her into custody, and then takes the bangle into custody.
Stealing it from a child would be a lot easier than stealing it from the authorities.
Exactly. So they clearly figure that, you know, they don't have as much time as you know, you might think, because they're probably aware of what's going on with the Department of Damage Control. They know how much time they have on this particular situation before they have to leave town again, really. You know, that they know they only have so much time. It's like David Banner and the Incredible Hulk, you know. Once the Hulk shows up, he knows he's got to keep moving. And they know that now that people know about the superheroes, and they've already played their hand with Kamala, you know, that they can't, they have to tie up this loose thread. They really can't just let her go.
Right.
And Kamala pulls the fire alarm.
She's not that powerful. She must be thinking that we could easily overpower her.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do a good job. I mean, really, you know, for people that are basically just super soldiers with, you know, fancy weapons, which is really what they're at. We don't see them utilize real genie powers, you know. They don't really utilize anything aside from just being very strong and very fast and very tough. You know? Yeah,
I would love to explore that a bit more. Like, what are the supernatural capabilities of these jinn?
Well, they make the point that they are essentially exiled from the Noor dimension, which right there, that's a big red flag. When someone opens with, well, we're exiled from our dimension.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, that they have these human, and that seems to imply that they have these human forms that their Norse spirits are inhabiting, you know, which might even suggest that they can't utilize their Jinn powers because they're trapped in these forms, but that but they're trapped in these forms because they can't go back to their world. You know, one wonders if they created these bodies for themselves to basically be containment units for them while they were on this planet, or if they just basically grabbed some random bodies. And,
interesting.
You know, there's a lot of mythos you could get into in this. Like, you know, were these people that had lives before the Jinn came there? Did they make their bodies out of the earth as, you know, magical beings are wont to do? Were they people that recently died that they just sort of reanimated and rehealed, but then became trapped within? So it seems to be that they were sent out of the Noor dimension for a reason never really explained to us. They have these bodies that, while they're within them, give them all kinds of strength and abilities, but at the same time, they don't have their, super colossal, near infinite power. They just have the teeny tiny living space.
Right. The nearly cosmic, semi-phenomenal powers.
Yes, I haven't seen that film in a while either, but yes. Although, as a fun fact, that's another interesting thing about the blue hand.
Ooh.
Because the genies are blue too, and it looks like the Norse might be blue. So it's like, it could be that it could be just a Nor who died on Earth with the bangle, because maybe the bangle could allow you to be on Earth from the Nor dimension, but you still had a physical limitation. And so when they died, they still have that blue skin and that blue body, but they died in that Nor dimension, or in the human dimension. So there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, the obvious Kree connection is clear, but you have that tying into the 10 rings, and you have, when we had the 10 rings, Carol saying, "I've never seen anything like this in Kree weapons," which suggests that even if they are, because I mean, it's like if you saw a sword, even if you've never used a sword, you'd think you'd know what a sword was,
right?
Or you know the basics of how swords are made. Or
pointy bit goes that way.
That's not the hold part. This is the one that's not sharp. That's the hold part. Yeah, but it's a pretty intense fight scene, and when she goes home, because obviously no one saw her be Nightlight, but they do know that she pulled.
Well, Nakia saw her.
Oh yeah, Nakia sees her, and Bruno. Yeah, Nakia and Bruno, and Nakia again. And it's interesting because, like, when you read these in the comics, all these storylines, these take several months. There's a lot of back and forth, and you get to understand why Nakia is a bit more upset in this moment. But I think they actually still tell it very well, with just the idea, making it just like, you didn't tell me you were this person, and it's like, well, you seem to not like them. It's like, yeah, but then maybe you should have said, well, just so you know, this is who I am,
Yeah.
And maybe we can find a way to do it better together,
Either that, or she's angry that you made me show you a part of myself that I wish I hadn't.
Yeah. There's lots of possibilities, but that is interesting. And she has to get, of course, Bruno to the doctors because he is really messed up. Which, again, there's a parallel in the comic where actually in another story, Bruno basically accidentally blows himself up and has to get these, fancy, cybernetic arm, he has to get things to help him walk again. But I do wonder that I think this is part of the Caltech tie-in, because basically when he gets kicked out of Coles after he blows stuff up, he actually goes to the Wakandan Science Academy. So I think we may see, I think he may be, I think we may see him in Wakanda forever before even, because I get the feeling that Caltech, maybe just in an ending cameo, possibly tying in with Ironheart, which just got promoed this week. So I do wonder if that's going to be a thing, because we know that the Wakandans are reaching out to what was it? Yeah, it was Compton, and that California area to help introduce Wakandan technology to the rest of the world. So I wonder if he's going to run into that in when he goes to that to the summer program, the early admissions program, and maybe that's where he's going to meet Ironheart, and maybe he's going to be kind of the Rick Jones of this group, where he's going to be the one that's sort of connecting all of the lines in, because once he meets Ironheart and he says, actually, I do know someone who might be able to help with this. you know, and they get out to Jersey City, and that can bring in Kate Bishop too, and that's when we start to build out our young Avengers. So,
wow, long game.
Yeah, well, you know, that's how they play these games, man.
I like it.
Anyway, what are your thoughts, Mozz? What did you think of the episode as a whole?
I'm super excited that it ends on her grandmother saying, "You got to come visit me because I saw the train too." So
yes,
that to me was like, oh man, the grandmother's finally giving it up. What do we got, Grandma? You know,
yeah.
But how is she going to convince her mom that they need to go to Karachi? You know, so
yeah. Well, you know,
your crazy mom said because of a spiritual vision, we need to go visit her.
Yes. Well, and you know, here's the thing, and this is really my thing on this. I think people know that she is nightlight, you know, and I really get the feeling that there's sort of this thing where everyone's just being like nice about secret identities in the Marvel universe. Because it's like, yeah, we all know who Steve Rogers is, we all know who Iron Man is. We can figure out who that lady with the arrows is, who's always hanging out with Hawkeye. You know, we can we can kind of piece this together, and you know. And obviously, because she's a kid, you don't want to just say, well, you know, she's really this person. Because, you know, you don't want to ruin the poor kid's fun. But, you know, and I think they know enough that when she says, we have to go to Karachi, they're like, okay, you know, because whatever it is, it's something.
And it's starting to bubble up. It's starting to pop up.
Exactly. I think when we get to the pitch meeting for this will be the line where they say, no, it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. You know, I don't know if you've ever watched the pitch meetings, but they're very funny.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, type in pitch meeting. That's one of their catchphrases. It's super easy, barely an basically, anytime something happens in a movie that they're pitching, so wow, it must be really hard for them to deal with that. It's like, nope, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
You do anything with CGI these days.
Yes, but so
I'm really digging the show so far. I love how they pay attention to the smallest details, and the conversations, the dialogue is written with care, and acted with care. I like everything about the show so far.
Do you think there's something? What did you think about them stealing all of what's his name, Amir's shoes?
I thought that was kind of cute, kind of, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was cute too. I like that. I like that we see that he still does not have shoes when he goes to the wedding. So they do tie it up. They put in a lot of little details. And again, shoe thieves. What is it about shoe thieves?
Like it's a big thing because like when you go to these mosques, you have to take your shoes off. And it's like the scourge of, you know, the whole enterprise is like, oh, somebody stole my shoes again. And it happens. So it's like this little inside joke that always happens when you go to mosque. So it's kind of...
And unless you're that jerk agent that nobody likes, you know?
Right.
And, and of course,
and part of me thinks she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
But she was just doing it to make a point and to throw her weight around.
Yeah. Because we saw her boss tell her, be respectful.
Yeah.
You know, when you do this, just understand. And she does not want to be respectful. I get the feeling this woman, I don't think we've seen the last of her either. I think she's going to be a later villain, in this story.
Yeah. I hope she ends up like, being like an arch nemesis for Valeria De Fontaine.
Yeah. Or is working with her. We don't know that. We don't know that yet. We don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy yet. But, you know, like I said, I'm a big believer that a lot of times, you know, because I always say Nick Fury was a guy who did what needed to be done and didn't care if you thought that was bad. Because you know what?
Right.
Not all of us get the luxury of being good all the time, you know?
Yeah.
All we can do is try to make sure that the best good comes of whatever we do.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's a good bit for this episode. We got a whole other episode to do because in a few minutes we're going to talk episode 4, Back to Karachi, City of Lights. Mozz, I just realized I did not get my my stuff up yet to talk about all of the wonderful things they can get if they go down to Linktree. That's linktr.ee/. bit.ly/CapesandLunatics, where they can find out about all of our amazing merch, like real aluminum mugs and the like, as well as wonderful T-shirts, and can support our Patreon. They can also give us a call. I'm doing it backwards today because that was the only thing I remember is the link tree. If they give us a call at 614-382-2737, that's 614-38-CAPES, they can talk to a robot and leave us a message, which we will play on the air if you let us, letting the world know what you think of Kamala Khan and her Scooby Gang. And, of course, if you don't want to use your voice but just want to use your words, you can write to us and really think out what you want to say at CapesandLunatics, all spelled out, Capes and the word and, Lunatics, at gmail.com. And, of course, Mozz, if people want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, where our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And look for me on Reddit under the name Superconnectivity, where I will be posting, when I get around to it, random thoughts as soon as I figure out how you do Reddit. But I opened an account to specifically try and go to the Ask Me Anything for Iman Vellani, and I missed it by that much, but that's okay. I now have a Reddit account, and so I will be posting there with my crazed fan theories soon. Look for Superconnectivity. And, of course, you can always follow me on Twitter when there's stuff to live tweet at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Mozz. Did you say where people could find you?
Yes.
You did. Perfect, then. Then, me hearty, we have come to the end of another episode. We have trod the world of Jersey City, seen the horrors it has to offer, and come back alive. If you so enjoy this story, set sail with us again next week as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arr.